Anand Logani, thank you for taking out time to be on the channel. A warm welcome, Anand.
Hey, Joby, good morning. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure that you reached out. You and I have been talking after 2 decades, and I'm really looking forward to this interaction.
Wonderful, wonderful, Andy. So, Andy, for the benefit of our viewers, may I please request you to give a little background about yourself, what you're doing, Andy?
Certainly. At the moment, I'm working for a company called EXL. It's listed on NASDAQ with the ticker EXLS. I have the responsibility of running the life, annuity, and group business globally. This basically accounts for 20 to 25% of our company's revenue, approximately 6,000 plus people, and a very healthy and a profitable growing business. And if you don't know about EXL, EXL's been doing exceptionally well, and company's been on a growth trajectory and delivering profitable results. By and large, we are focused on data-led analytics business in chosen industry domains such as insurance, healthcare, banking, and some emerging domains. And besides large data and analytics business, we also have digital operations, and then we help our clients solving 2 fundamental problems. 1, helping them generate profitable growth, and 2, helping manage cost and risk. On the personal front, I live in New York, been here for the last 15 years. It was my dream to work here in New York, and I'm glad I'm here. I have a wife. She's very supportive of everything that I've done over the years. And I have a son who's 15-year-old, and he's finding his own mojo. And, we're having a great time. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Andy. Absolutely wonderful to hear that. And, I know it's just a brief, but wonderful to hear that, Andy. So, Andy, the company is growing, and that comes out in what you said. And, the hunger for growth is very evident in EXL, right? You can't hide that, right?
Yes.
And y'all are present in almost every continent too. Is that right, Andy? Y'all have operations in almost every continent. Is that right?
Yeah, I would say almost 6 now. So we are definitely working in 6 continents, several countries. And the company from, you'll remember this, Joby, from way back when it started from a small boutique company to what it is today. We are really proud of the journey, and I am so glad that I've been associated with it. But I think you chose the right word, the hunger for growth, but yet staying focused on our customers. I think that's what led to the phenomenal growth of the company.
Absolutely. Wonderful to hear that, Andy. And Andy, you've been in EXL for some time. When did you join, or how long have you been with EXL, Andy?
That's a great question. This is my 22nd year with the company. I joined in July 21. So I've completed 21 years, and this has been I started my 22nd year. So yes, it's been a long journey, and I've had several stints in several geographies with EXL. I started in India, spent a lot of time in UK and Europe, then relocated to the US. I've almost worked here in 45, 46 states. Got a chance to cover a lot of Europe with the consulting work I was doing there. And then also of late, a lot of work in Asia Pac and South Africa with our delivery geographies. So yes, it's been quite a journey over these 2 long decades.
So Andy, you joined the company pretty much when the Dotcom bust, was shattering the world. You stuck on with the organization when the financial meltdown was happening. COVID too came and ravaged the world, and you're still there. Andy, why? Why are you still with this organization that has, that scares the world, but not you? Why? What's the reason? What's the pull, Andy?
Right. That's a great question. And I think if you look at the events, some that you articulated, uh, for instance, a lot of viewers may not know, uh, we as a company had our own journey. We were part of a company that actually filed bankruptcy, and we were literally going to go down to zero revenues and lose everything that we had built. I'm going back 2002. So, Joby, to your point, there have been episodes from the macro environment, but then there have been episodes from internally as it relates to the company. We also one time lost a big client, and that had a major dent in our revenues. You're right, financial crisis. I was here in New York when it happened. I remember those Lehman Brothers days, not so fondly. Interestingly, it was also a client. I also remember the time when actually it used to be Exl Service Dotcom, because everybody was riding the Dotcom bandwagon, and we want to do that as well. And later on, Dotcom was like not such a good name to have. And then recently, the global pandemic. So I'm kind of re-articulating your question that yes, it has not been a fun ride always. There have been ups and downs in the company. The word that comes to mind is, obviously the company has been very resilient, or learned to fight all these difficult times and come out very strongly as a team. I would say on the personal front, I still remember our current CEO Rohit and our former CEO and founder Vikram, when we were almost zero and had lost the entire business because the parent that we were part of way back filed bankruptcy. They actually got the entire 1,000 employees in a town hall setting, and they said, "Look, this has happened. We don't know how long we're going to survive. We don't know whether we will be able to bounce back or not. But one commitment we have, that the last drop of money that we have on our bank accounts, we will take care of our employees. We will not let people go. But if you decide to leave, then, we will respect that." Somehow, I just made that emotional connection with the leadership that, here's the leadership that believes in you and is standing with you, by you during difficult times. On the personal front, it relates to my personal values as well, because I also thought that, yes, the times are difficult, but we are in the industry that's doing very well. This concept really works. And what we are trying to build as an organization is something that is geared towards the future. Now, I'll be honest, there were times that, during these difficult times, a person's always evaluating. Even during COVID, Joby, suddenly, for our industry, there is no remote working environment in global geography. And overnight, we had to have 30,000 plus people move from offices to home, and within a span of a week. Sometimes we as a company refer it to as like a biggest design thinking experiment we've been used to. And you have to see the resilience of the employees carrying laptops, trying to cross the local rules and boundaries, doing things that they had to do to ensure at the end of the day that we are delivering the service to our customers that we are in the business for. So there have been lots of ups and downs, but I think management thinking about its employees being a part and parcel of the company. Secondly, my own personal values and association with the company, that it will do the right thing by you. And I would say in the end, each of these opportunities, it's strange I call it opportunities, they just turned out to be something really significant for EXL, and it became an inflection point, not for the company and personally for me as well. Every such event made us more stronger, made us more resilient, and actually we turned out in a much better and much more positive fashion. So that kept going. So it's interesting now when something adverse happens, it just doesn't bother me as much, because I just feel, we are going to come out of it much more stronger and much more resilient and actually better than what we were. So I think that probably has been the reason for me to just stay during these difficult times.
So Andy, you would have seen during this, during this period where, a lot of your peers being pulled into competitors and money for the asking, because talent and skill, there was money on the table. And designations, you could choose a country. I mean, the industry was in a hyper growth mode. And it's a silly assumption, but an obvious assumption that there's no doubt that people would have come for you, competitors would have come for you, but you stuck, you stayed. I want to tie it up with another observation: is there's an employee base or large perception that if you don't leave a company and jump, you don't grow financially or in terms of designation. You haven't done it. So you would have been tempted with gold and diamonds. That's needless to say that. But what's your viewpoint on that, Andy?
Right. Joey, great questions. I'll address them in the order you asked. Number one, yes, look, over the years, there have been a lot of competitors that have reached out directly. Folks that were working with EXL left and they have reached out that, hey, why don't you come and join? And you're also right. These days, you sometimes get tagged as old-fashioned. People think that, oh, if you've stuck for too long, perhaps you are change resistant. You're in your comfort zone is kind of the word that you hear often. And like you also rightly said, so coming to your second question, people also think that you will not be treated well financially or otherwise because you consider it as part of sometimes in your existing organization as well as old school. Yeah. Because there are new talent we are also onboarding, and sometimes new leaders can see you as old school that, my God, this guy's stuck for 13, 14 years. So, is he any good or is he just here because he just resists change? So the forces are on both sides, and you have to actually fight both sides of forces sometimes. But I will say 2 or 3 things that are the myths that perhaps I will like to bust. First and foremost, I think within EXL, the number of responsibilities and the things that I've done, interestingly, Joby, you know this, but maybe not many people do. I actually started in EXL taking calls. And today I actually run the entire division. I'm part of our operating committee, which actually is the execution arm of the company's strategy, right? So that just speaks for it. Second thing I will tell you also is, EXL has been listed on NASDAQ for 15 years, and I joined in the pre-IPO days. And EXL has taken care of its employees really well, and the stock compensation and the stock price has done exceedingly well. And that has not only helped us make money in respect to peers, but even create wealth longer term. I would say one has to take a long-term view and not get attracted towards short-term things. I'm sure there will be pretty of attractive options that will come your way or opportunity that will come your way. But within the company, there have been so many changes and you've learned and evolved. So I'll give you an example. When I came here to the US, you will remember the old days and we were just a BPO company. And BPO was just go sell business process outsourcing. It's labor arbitrage. You do it for X. This will be X minus Y% cheaper. So why don't you do it in India or the Philippines? Today, I don't think we are having that conversation. We are a data-led company. We talk about data and analytics. That's now north of 45% of our business. I go to the clients and I talk about artificial intelligence. How can we embed data into your thinking and completely reimagine your business? We are helping companies launch products from scratch, bringing an IT stack, our data, our operational talent. And so the conversation has changed. The opportunity has changed. The client base has completely changed. And we have evolved ourselves. So there is the EXL 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. And we are now looking at what's the future, like metaverse. We are looking at what the blockchain can do. How will AI impact the industry? So even if you stick around, there is that element of change that's happening within your own company and opportunities that presents itself, which you may lose out because every new company also you have to go build that your own personal brand. And I'll also give credit to our leadership, Joby, as you know some of them. We have so much open access to the board. We have open access to our executives. So I can reach out to our board member and say, I want you to come with me for a meeting. I can knock Rohit's door, my own boss, Vikas, who you know well, who runs insurance. I can knock his door and I'll say, I need you for this meeting, and they'll make time because they think it's the right thing to do. So, great questions. Just to summarize, number one, at least the company I work for has taken great care of our career progression and has taken great care for our, financial wellness. Secondly, there has been so much change, so many opportunities, so much evolution in career that I've never felt the need to go explore anything outside because I just kept learning. And on learning, I didn't mention one thing. The learning and development part of EXL also has been exemplary. So in addition to what I learned on job, there's been an investment on a Stanford program that I did. There's been an investment on ISB program that I did. I was sponsored for my Master Black Belt certification, sponsored for my Black Belt certification, and currently also I'm doing my GMP at Harvard, which the company has invested in. So, there's been a lot of investment, and that association, that taking care of you and being part and parcel of the fabric, and yet learning through the change. So I don't want to give anybody an impression that you stick with the company and it's static and you don't grow. That's far from reality. I think the onus is on us. And I think, great companies will make sure that they'll support that journey.
Comes to mind that you're not the only one who's been there this long. Plenty of people who've been with the company for this long. So you're not the exception, but you're part of a tribe, so to speak, that has been seeing all this and, experiencing all this. And that's why they're around. And, much more than that, the people who are just joining in and they may not see the long road ahead. What would you like to tell them when you've seen the long road?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Joby, we all hear about this great resignation wave, and I share this with my team in open town halls. Number one, I think one has to consider a long-term view of what you've taken in the job. So for instance, if I'm here because of a reason that I wanted this to be a part of my long-term career, and this is exactly the type of thing I wanted to do, reconsider that. Are you just moving for a little bit of money, or are you moving just because the grass is apparently looking greener on the other side? But that may not be the case. But yes, you have to be thinking about the values of the company. Do we live and breathe by the values that you hear from the leadership? Do we do the same thing with our clients? Do we do the same thing with our customers, our employees? So yes, you have to evaluate that. I think a lot of people leave for bad leadership. I mean, that may not be a bad company. I also suggest people to stand up and voice out their opinions. And if you feel so, just go and have a conversation, because most great companies these days have open on policies. So first you can go and talk to your manager, then you can even go talk to your leadership and just, clear the air. Because many a time it's a circumstantial episode that's driving your change, but that may not be the long-term thing. I would say the fourth thing that also jumps out to me, look, you build a degree of credibility, a trust, and recreating that is not easy every time. So evaluate that. Yeah, I'm jumping for some percentage, but am I really, losing out a lot that I've built in my equity in the company? And recreating that also has some time and effort. And honestly, yes, look at the learning and development and the financial attractiveness of what you're doing, but also evaluate in the long term that, yeah, short term you might feel that it's a little bit of a hit, but if the company values you, you value what you're doing, you'll get there. It's a matter of time. And learning opportunities, change opportunities, all great companies these days offer you. I've experienced that myself. You keep doing and keep investing in your part, keep learning, and having the right conversations. Joby, I've also benefited by having mentors. And my suggestion is that within the company or outside, leaders should look at having mentors, because sometimes you may not view the world holistically, and mentors can guide you. And these mentors can be external. These mentors can be internal as well, or sometimes from a client base. So having that conversation with your mentors greatly helps, because then you'll make a wise choice versus just a decision that's purely based on what you think at that point in time may be the best decision. So I'm not averse to people leaving. Joby, there have been times I've told the teams that have walked up to me and I said, look, your role and your skill set in the long term is not what that this company will value. Somewhere else, you'll probably find a great success. So I think it's best for you to move. So I'm not saying that stick around, but don't just jump for certain short-term benefits that are visible versus losing the long-term picture. And I think that's the evaluation that I would actually urge everybody to do before making the choice.
Andy, thank you so much for your time, for your views. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on the channel, Andy.
Joby, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time, and I looking forward to staying in touch. Thank you.